I'm live. All right, finally. A little technical glitch. What else is new? Good morning. It's Wednesday, February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. Thank you for joining us here on Java with Jerry. As always, we're coming to you from the penthouse suite of Stadium Towers right here in the Platinum Triangle, and we've got a big show for you. A little bit of news. As always, our feature today will be How to Speak Millennial, aimed at you boomers, although I was chided this morning that it also includes you Xers so that you can learn to be a more millennial savvy in your lexicon. And our guest is one of my favorite people, a woman I really admire, Nicole Suydam, who's the CEO of Second Harvest Food Bank, who's here to talk to us about things you probably didn't know happen in Orange County, and that's about food insecurity and the magnificent programs that Second Harvest does in order to help people have fresh and delicious food to eat daily. So we're going to talk a little bit about her programs, what she's doing, some of the exciting stuff that's coming up with her, and they're celebrating an anniversary too. We're going to try to cover it all. So, as always, if you haven't done it, you can sign up to get this as a podcast. If you don't want to watch it live or 10 o'clock on Wednesday morning doesn't work for you, not a problem. Go to Orange Sliced, and there you can sign up to get the podcast sent automatically to your phone or device, whatever you want to hear it on, laptop, iPad, whatever you have that works for you. We've got a way for you to get a Java with Jerry in some way that's easy for you to consume. And we want this to be a dialogue, so please make sure that you keep up with us and let us know what's going on. So I have a lot to cover with Nicole. I'm going to go quickly through the news, which I've been complaining to everyone this morning is changing more rapidly than I write it. I write it, get it to production staff, they put it on these fabulous Java with Jerry cards, and then in 20 minutes it changes. So we'll self-edit along the way. Here's the news, national, local, and a little bit of sports. On the national level, we have a budget. Yay! So no more drama over funding challenges and shutting down the government. And so the government went out and it swiped your credit card, lucky you, and managed to spend another $700 billion of your money. And every time they swipe the credit card, you know you're going to pay for it. So all you young people who are working, work diligently, do a little overtime. Those of us nearing retirement need to be able to depend on your hard work and productivity. Work hard, kids. We need it. So keep an eye on what's going on. At least they tell us they'll be funding our seriously depleted military, which needs the money, doing a little infrastructure, helping with some safety net programs, which are important, and so including healthcare, which is a good thing. So we'll keep tuned on what they're doing and spending your dough at the Fed level. On the state level, just heard this week that your car insurance for last year went up about 6.5%, 6.3%. And the cause of it is you. You caused your own cost to rise, and here's why. Lots of reasons. One, you're driving more because the economy is booming and you're working. More of you working puts more of you on the street. More of you on the street means more accidents, so that's part of the problem. You're also driving fancier cars with lots of gadgets on them, and every time something breaks, the gadget is expensive to fix, so that's another reason. You tend to be distracted more, so you're on your widgets. That's why you need to get this podcast sent to you and you can listen to it and not be texting, so that causes more accidents. And finally, you're suffering from the payback of all the calamities that have happened in California from floods and fires and all the cars that were lost from those. And so that's the one thing you're not responsible for, but otherwise you're your own problem. So there you go. That's your statewide news. Your car insurance has gotten more expensive. The good news is the economy is booming, so that's good for you. Locally, I had written about the case that was being heard this week in federal court, Judge Carter's court, about what was going on the riverbed with the homeless, and had some news about it, but it has changed overnight. Judge Carter, using the power of a federal judge, kept everybody in the courtroom, I guess, until late in the evening yesterday, and this morning had them out walking the riverbed with him. He was out there in the wee hours of the morning, and then had them all gather back in his courtroom at 8:30. They are apparently hammering out a deal. The county, I think, is going to be allowed to clear the riverbed, which is an unsafe place for anybody to live anyway, and to clear up all the hypodermic needles and the waste and the like. They're going to provide some motel rooms on a short-term basis for up to about 400 people. They also claim on the county side that they have lots of beds left over yet in shelters that are available, and that they're going to make other county sites available to house people on a temporary basis. And then they're going to get them some wraparound services, which I think is absolutely necessary because we got such a mixture of different problems out there that it's a real conundrum. But kudos to Judge Carter. He may be working a little beyond his judicial powers, but he has the hardcore spine of a Marine, and so he's keeping everybody in the courtroom until he makes the lawyers hammer out a deal. So stay tuned on what's going on in the riverbed. We'll have more on that, obviously. And then in sports, you have to be watching the Olympics. It is unbelievable. Talk about millennials and young people. So the first medal goes to Redmond Red Gardner from Colorado, who did some incredible snowboard work on the slopes. And he won the first gold medal for the U.S. And then quickly on the heels of that, we've had two more snowboard medals, one by Chloe Kim and another by Shaun White, who are apparently just tearing up the half pipe. So on the slopes and in the half pipe, snowboarders are doing great. Mira Nagasu of Arcadia, a local young lady who was left out of the Olympics last time around, landed the first triple axel by an American woman in competition ever. She was amazing and was quickly the reason why we secured a bronze medal in the team sport, which is a new thing they're doing in skating. So they do team before they do the individual stuff. And the U.S. was on the bubble with Italy, and Mirai did a great job landing that triple axel, and she actually sealed it for us. And then the Canadian ice dancers, that sort of veteran team of Tessa Virtue and Scott Moore, did flawless performances. How they do what they do and glide the way they do to the music is unbelievable. It's really graceful, but it's also powerful athletes on the ice. So you'll see more of this over the next couple of weeks. These athletes are really incredible to watch, and you got to stay tuned to the medal count. I understand we're like in third or fourth place. The Germans are sweeping it up, and so are the Norwegians, but you know, they live in colder climates, so what can we say? So that's your news. That's your Java news for Valentine's Day. If you haven't gone out and done something for Valentine's Day, you better hurry up because you're behind the curve. And we will talk a little bit more about that maybe later on. Let me bring in our guest, and while she's coming on set, let me tell you a little bit about her. Many of you know her. Welcome. Yeah, come on in, Nicole.
Right.
Get comfy. We keep our guests segregated from their Java with Jerry cups, so they're dying for caffeine by the time they get on there, and now they need it refreshed. Most of you know Nicole, but I'm going to give you a quick, brief rundown on her bio. Too much to tell you, but I will edit some of it. She's been a nonprofit executive for 20 years and doing management and leadership for nonprofits throughout that entire time. She's been chief executive officer of Second Harvest Food Bank of Orange County since 2012. Wow, that's gone fast. It's been a long time already. And she's committed, obviously, to eliminating hunger in Orange County and is doing magnificent work there. And she'll talk a lot about that today. Her desire extends beyond Orange County, though. She also serves on the board of directors of the California Association of Food Banks and Feeding America's National Council. I know you travel a lot for those meetings, so let's talk a little bit about that if we can. She has a BA degree in history and political science from Vanguard University of Southern California, a great local university, and now serves on their board of trustees and as president of their alumni association. So successful alum goes back and leads. I like that. And she and her husband, Mike, live in Aliso Viejo with two wonderful daughters. And of course, if any of you know them as a couple, you know they're a lot of fun to be around. So welcome to Java with Jerry. Thank you for coming in and doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about the history of the food banks, because I know a lot about it. I know your friends do, but some people in Orange County may not be aware that we even need a food bank in Orange County.
No, that's definitely the perception. You know, why is hunger in Orange County?
Yeah, we're wealthy.
So exactly, we have all this influence, but indeed, there are about 315,000 people who struggle with hunger right here in our community. So it's about 10% of our population.
That's unbelievable.
Right. And then even more startling is 1 in 6 children are at risk of hunger right here in Orange County. And that mirrors the national statistic, 1 in 6.
And that's not just homeless people. Those are families that are working
poor. The working poor, the homeless, seniors on fixed income. It's all of those populations that, are struggling to make ends meet.
But that's a lot of kids trying to get to school without nutrition.
Exactly. That's a big concern and a big priority for us at Second Harvest.
Yeah. So how do your programs interdict that hunger and change it, Nicole?
Yeah. So our mission is to end hunger in Orange County. And really how we look at that is, as much as possible, we want to make sure we're collecting food from the food industry and other sources, farmers, And then we distribute that food to our partners, organizations that are directly feeding people in need. So these are the churches, the soup kitchens, and the shelters who are reaching people. But we want to make sure people in need have access to good quality, nutritious food.
So Second Harvest acquires the food, packages it, gets it out where it needs to be at distribution points or to the partners who come and get it from you, and then they actually deliver to the families who are in need.
Exactly. So
how many meals a year are we talking about?
Yeah. So last year we did the equivalent of 21.6 million meals.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's I say equivalent because we're really distributing groceries.
Yeah.
And then this year we're already poised to do more than 23 million meals. We have what we call our bold goal, and our bold goal is to get to 30 million meals by 2021. And that still won't meet the entire need.
I was going to ask you, what if you want to eliminate hunger, what do we need to get to?
Well, the number right now is we need to close a 13 million meal gap. So we'll be on pace to close the gap when we get to 20 to 30 million. And then after that, it's going to be anywhere from 2021 to 2025 that we can close the rest of the gap.
But by 2025, you think you could close the gap? Does that take into account now the growth in the county? Because I know we're expecting like another 300,000 to 400,000 people.
Yeah, we have to look at it every year. And also, the good news is that I've noticed the meal gap continues to go down every year the last 5 years that I've looked at the data.
Oh, good.
And so that's good news. Also, the good news is that food insecurity, while it's still a large problem, it has been going down. When I first started at Second Harvest, we were at 370,000 people at risk of hunger. So to go from 370,000 to 315,000 is really good news. The part that is an issue and a challenge is that the people who need help need more of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's, and that's because of our growing senior population, working families, the cost of everything in Orange County is going up, right? Rent, fuel, all of our cost of living.
It's a very expensive place to live.
And so, from that standpoint, you need help and you need more of it.
Yeah. And that choice that sometimes seniors have to make, or the working poor do, between, do I buy medicine for a kid that's ill? Do I get, the meds that I need as a senior, or do I buy a meal? Is a huge choice for them. And that's just a sad thing that we have, people in our community suffering that way.
Being able to provide this food to people like that really provides a lifeline.
That makes a big difference.
It makes a huge difference.
So let's talk a little bit about the programs themselves. In what variety of ways do you and your staff get this food to the community?
So I think one of our biggest models is that we have our 190 partners. So these are the nonprofits directly feeding people that, we're bringing in the food and then we're distributing the food through them. But we've also created some other models that are innovative.
So on the 190 partners, those are the soup kitchens and the churches and the schools and the places where they're getting to the population.
After school meals too as well. But where we're getting more creative, because so much of the food that we bring in is perishable. So 2/3 of the food that we're distributing to this community is perishable.
And that's something I don't think is everybody thinks about the food that we get in canned that we deliver, or the food drives we have around the holidays. And by the way, this isn't just an around the holidays problem. Or you're checking out and you see the bags for Second Harvest sitting right there. And it's so easy to just say, here's an extra $10, send this bag to Nicole. But it's really a lot of fresh food as well.
Exactly. So we're dealing with, dairy and produce and meat and, other perishable food.
And you got to move that stuff, right? You get it in, you got to get it out.
Our goal is to turn it around in 24 hours.
Wow.
So it's a lot of logistics to be able to make that happen. Right. Well, it's a lot of staff, but we run lean. We're heading to 90 employees in the next few months, so we're about 85 right now.
And a ton of volunteers.
But so we're lean considering the amount of food we're getting out to the community. But last year we had 26,000 people volunteer their time with us. So we couldn't do it without our volunteers. Our volunteers help us make this happen.
And how many hours is that? Do you know?
Over 100,000 hours
of volunteer
service.
Time.
It would be the equivalent of about 40% of our workforce.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people to get and manage and to
but that's how we make it happen.
Yeah.
We really couldn't do our work without the volunteers.
Well, so 190 partners, and then what other innovative programs have you put together in terms of distribution?
Yeah, so we started partnering with schools. So we have right now 30 schools that we do food distribution at. So we're actually setting up a sort of a free farmers market at those schools. So we sent out requests for proposals to these schools. schools. In the first year, we were able to open 6 schools, and we had 43 schools apply.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we were just amazed. But so right
that gives
now,
you a sense of the need, though, because you're talking about one in 6 kids is
that
hungry.
was heartbreaking. That I knew that so many of these principals and schools, thought they needed it, and we were only had the capacity to do 6 at the time. Now we're at 30, and in our strategic plan, we're going to head to 50 in the next couple of years.
That's
and we're really targeting schools that have high free and reduced lunch rates. So the innovation there is that we're able to go in when mom or dad is dropping off their student or picking up, and we set up the farmers market. It's completely choice, so they get to actually go through and pick out what they want. We call that client choice.
Yeah.
So that's one way. The other way that we're being innovative is we're actually establishing these mini market food pantries at schools. So we have 2 schools that we're at right now. One here.
That are permanent?
Permanent pantries, exactly, and they're set up for perishable foods. So we have freezer, commercial freezer, refrigerator. It's really like a small mini market.
That's great.
You can get fresh produce, and it's all set up in a very dignified, well organized way. Mom can make an appointment, and then she can come at least once a week and fill 2 bags of groceries. From the time she walks in, she has 5 minutes to fill the bags. With any necessities she needs for her family. So this is food and sometimes also personal care items. And it's making a huge difference.
Yeah,
we talk to a lot of families where they just tell me, gosh, I talked to a mom last week and she was down to just cereal in the house for 4 days. 4 days with 2 boys. And both boys special needs. One autistic and the other on the spectrum. And she was telling me, I was down to, cereal for 4 days. And I looked at her, I'm like, oh my gosh. So she's like, I'm here now at the pantry to get what I need. She was able to leave there with a cart of good food for her family.
And she can do this once a week?
Once a week.
So you've got this in 2 schools, and you're going to expand that as well, more pantries?
Yeah, we're going to add 3 more. That's the plan. At least one a year.
But these are like capital intensive, aren't they, Nicole? I mean, you got to put in refrigeration and put in shelving.
It's about $30,000 for the capital, and then $60,000 to operate it for the year.
And that's the volunteer help too. That's where you get more volunteer help.
That takes into consideration, the managing of the food and the staffing, to get it there.
Yeah. So. And what other things? I know you've got an exciting new project you're building. Are you allowed to talk about the big truck?
So we also, just as part of our, role.
You're getting an inside view right now.
This is inside scoop.
Yeah, this is a scoop.
Yeah, so we, I have a really creative team, and they come up with amazing ideas to get, healthy food out into the community. Yeah. And so they came up with this really amazing concept of creating a mobile market. So I know we're all into our food trucks, right, here in Orange County and all over. But this is going to be a mobile market where, you'll have the refrigeration doors on the truck, like we would go to the market and get our milk. Yeah. We'll have shelving in there for dry. We'll have, produce in there. But this is going to be imagine a tractor trailer, a big truck, and the trailer will be fully customized like this market.
That's fabulous.
We're calling it the Parkit Market.
The Parkit Market.
So far, that's the official name. So unless we change it, but the Parkit Market.
Great. I like it.
And it'll be going to, we're going to target this. It's a pilot program. We're going to target it for low-income senior apartment communities.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Where we know seniors aren't as mobile and they need more help. So we have already some locations in mind throughout the county. And it's going to, help a lot of seniors who need it.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea. It'll be fun to see that rolling around town.
Yeah, we're going to get that up and running in May. Yeah. We might, soft open it in April, but really launch it in early May.
That's a creative idea.
And then it'll be also around the time that we start announcing, but this is our inside scoop for your viewers only.
Okay, you're getting more scoops.
Exactly.
See, if you tune in to Java with Jerry, there are things you wouldn't otherwise know.
We are, it's our 35th anniversary this year.
Yay, congratulations.
So, we're excited. Great. So as we talk about, the launch of this program, we'll also be, announcing our anniversary.
Yeah, that's a great way to launch the anniversary. So again, another innovative way to get food out even beyond the partners. And you've got these pantries, and now you got a mobile pantry. And knowing you'll replicate that as soon as that's a great success.
Yeah, we'll learn from it and then tighten it and hopefully add more.
That is creative. Your staff came up with a great idea.
Oh, yeah. They're extremely creative.
So you're going to quickly penetrate beyond these 23 million meals that you...
Yeah, I mean, we're on target, to do more than 23 million this year.
So Nicole, you do that many, but you have to have good partners on the other side of the food chain to supply this stuff to you.
Absolutely.
Where are those partnerships formed, and what are you doing to get them, and where are you getting all this fresh food?
Yeah, so it's a couple different sources. A real key one for us is our grocery retailers. You say the name of a large retailer, and they're likely donating to us.
I know some of them serve on your board as well, so they're really engaged in the leadership.
Exactly.
Of the organization.
They do food, they do funds, they do volunteer work. In every way possible that you can help us, they're involved.
Yeah.
And
that's something that you should all be proud of, is that the responsibility of your local grocer goes beyond just helping with the bags you see at the checkout stand. They're engaged in the work to feed the community and to help your neighbors, and you need to be engaged with them, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so they really do an amazing job. We've worked out a system so that we are able to go direct to each store in Orange County. So you're talking, think about all these big chains.
Yikes.
Yeah, you're over several hundred stores in Orange County.
Good thing you have thousands of volunteers.
Yeah, well, and we use our fleet for about half, not quite, a little less than half, maybe about 40% of those stores. Our trucks, we have 14 trucks out in the community every day. These are all refrigerated trucks.
Yeah, I've seen them on the road.
And we'll be growing a truck every year. We'll be adding a truck every year over the next few years.
And those aren't inexpensive. So.
Yeah, you're looking at $200,000 for a refrigerated truck. So it's not cheap. What we can do to actually go pick up the food, and then we also will assign grocery stores to our partner organizations. So these partners, like a church that's in the neighborhood of a store, can go direct to a store. So we supplement with our own fleet where our partner can't pick up. But if the partner can pick up, that really helps in terms of controlling costs, and then they get it direct and they can get it out right away.
Beyond the grocery stores, I know you're dealing with people who are actually growing this stuff. So talk a little bit about your program with farmers.
Farmers in California are amazing. They have come up with a program. This was over 10 years ago. We were members of the California Association of Food Banks, and I serve on their board. And that association has the what we call the Farm to Family program. And so they are getting farmers up and down the state of California to agree to donate. So it might be farmers, it might be packers, distributors. So it's a little bit of all of that
everybody
industry.
In the food chain,
Exactly. And then get them to agree to donate the product. With our contributions, we're able to pay for the transportation to get it here, or if they need to load the produce they're going to donate into a bin or a box, there's a cost, to loading it. So, but, really we're only paying 10 to 15 cents a pound to get some really beautiful produce.
Yeah, you're getting California produce and you're getting it fresh.
And we're getting it fresh.
And then you got 24 hours to get it back out the door.
Yeah, and there are, 40-something food banks in California that benefit from this program. And then we're able to source to access to other states, to food banks in other states.
And that's in spite of the drought. I mean, I was worried about what was going on with our farmers because they were so water dependent, and we were having a tough time with the last few years.
Exactly. We didn't. We still grew in our farm to family donations even during the drought. The only difference is that maybe the diversity of the product. We weren't getting as much watermelon, for example, depending on what they could grow. But we were still getting really good stuff, and we're able to distribute it out quickly.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how in 6 years you've taken it from canned goods and serving, a couple of million, meals to now you're in the tens of millions.
We were doing about 14 million meals 6 years ago, and now we're already getting to close where we'll be 10 million more than that in 6 years.
That's unbelievable. How am I doing on time, Julie? We're running out quickly. So I want to ask you how our viewers can get engaged, because we know that you've got costs not only associated with continuing to be able to do the distribution you have in pipe, but if you want to add trucks a year and you want to add more of these mobile markets and the like, then you need help from our fans. So how do we get involved with Second Harvest?
So if you are an individual contributor, it's good to know that for every $1 that is donated to us, we can turn it into 3 meals.
Is that right?
So so a little bit goes a long way, which is good news. It's always nice when our contributors can make a monthly commitment so that we know that we can sustain those donations. And
by the way, that's easy. I put it on a credit card. I don't think about it. Nicole gets money, but you all should be doing that.
Exactly. So that's easy, simple, right on our website at feedoc.org that people can contribute.
And what about companies and organizations and churches, people who want to roll up their sleeves and get engaged?
Absolutely. Then we always need volunteers. Easy to sign up to volunteer on our website at feedoc.org. We have shifts available Monday through Saturday.
That's great.
We just added Monday, which is exciting. So we need volunteers on Monday afternoon to help us process, all of this good grocery food that comes in.
Yeah.
So that's a new opportunity. But coming in, you can volunteer in the morning or the afternoon, Monday through Saturday.
And you don't have to be an adult to do this. Talk to the kids. You got programs now at all different levels for young people.
Exactly. We have high school kids that come in to volunteer, so 14 and over. And then we also have youth 7 to 13 who can come into our children's volunteer area that we call Izzy's Corner. And that's a real popular program. So it's hard to find volunteer opportunities for children.
Yeah.
And so we can get 15 to 20 kids at a time packing fresh produce into bags, and then we can let those kids know, hey, this food is going to go directly to a school to help kids in need.
So they're helping their peers, and they're learning to do philanthropy, which is an excellent thing.
Yeah, and we really believe strongly that we have to educate this next generation so that ultimately they can help solve this problem.
Okay, so if anybody wants to get into any of these programs, if you want your child in Izzy's Corner or your teenager to work as a volunteer, or you want to donate or work, they go to, give them the website.
Feedoc.org.
Feedoc.org. Please go and do that. Become a monthly donor. It's so easy to be engaged with what Nicole's doing. You can tell she's having an impact on lives. Thank you for coming and doing this with us. We'll have you back and do it some more. I've got to squeeze in our feature and a wrap because I'm sure I'm running close to overtime. Where am I, Julie? God, it goes fast. Yep. So we'll come back and talk some more about this, but hang for a minute while I tell our boomers. Boomers, here's your feature. This week again, we're going to do How to Speak Millennial. All right. So this is the feature where we try to give you some heads up on millennial jargon so you don't seem so out of place among the millennials you work with or that you have in your family or that you encounter in your daily life. And today's word is FOMO, F-O-M-O, which stands for, according to the Google Dictionary, fear of missing out, an anxiety that an exciting or interesting event may be currently happening elsewhere, often aroused by posts that you'll see on social media, and it just causes you to be anxious because you're not going to be able to attend. An example, here's an example sentence for how you can use FOMO, boomers. The ladies are going out to get drinks later, but I have to work. I have major FOMO. So that's your word, FOMO. Use it among the millennials. You'll be really cool and hip. At least you'll understand what they're saying when they're having it. Reminder for those of you that have been watching, we have a feature called Dumb Criminal. Send in your dumb criminal stories. Any that we use on the air will be entered to see if you win your Java with Jerry cup. Nicole, you get to take yours with you, your parting gift. Every guest gets their own cup. I want to thank Nicole for being here. We'll have her back. Want you to go to feedoc.org.
Got it.
.org, and make sure you sign up. We'll see you next Wednesday. Have fun with your Valentine today. Have a good week. Make good decisions. And we'll see you next week for more Java with Jerry.